Hey guys, how's it going? This is HelpfulLockPicker here, and the video I have for you today is a little bit different. What I'd like to start doing is making a video series that's going to go over how you can get started with filming in lock sport on YouTube. There are a lot of great pickers out there, and a lot of people that tend to lurk in the background, but are generally interested in getting started in YouTube. What I'd like to do is try to be a resource and show some tips and tricks and some of the strategies that I used when I am filming, and hopefully I'll be able to encourage some more people to start making some more YouTube channels. I really hope to be a resource. I've really enjoyed my time that I have spent so far. I'm very happy that I've been able to help a lot of people learn how to pick their first locks and also be able to promote some of the smaller channels. So my goal throughout this series is going to be able to be just a helpful aid in anyone that wants to get started in lock sport. If you guys ever have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I love giving out some of my advice and just trying to be a great resource. So I'm going to have some more information on this coming up in just a second. Please stay tuned. Alright, so let's jump right into it. So the goal of the video today is going to be to provide you with a very brief overview on many of the core concepts to help you be successful when you're first starting filming in lock sport. If you have any suggestions on any topics that I have not covered today and you'd like to see covered more extensively in videos to come, please feel free to share them in the comments below. I'd really love to read them and try to incorporate them in some future episodes. The goal of the video today is going to be a brief overview, and I'll get into more of these concepts in much more detail in videos to come. So what I'd like to do now is start getting into some of the things that you can do to try to make your YouTube channel a little bit more successful when you're first getting into it. I'd like to first start off by saying all of these tips and strategies that I'm going to share with you today have come from my own experience from running my YouTube channel over the last year. I am very much self-taught in the art of filming my YouTube channel, and I'd like to share some of the strategies that I have learned and developed over the course of the last year. The first thing that I've noticed throughout any YouTube channel is that the most important thing you need to have is a central story. Your story is the most important thing that is going to draw people into your channel and give them a reason to subscribe and click the bell. You need to have a central genre, so whenever someone sees a video coming out by you, they know and they can expect that the video is going to be related to something that they fell in love with, and it gives them a reason to come back and watch. You do not want your channel to be all over the place, and you want to try to have a central theme. This is very important when you're first starting your channel. Once it's a little bit more established, it's okay to deviate a little bit here and there, which you've seen in my channel. But when you are first starting your channel, you really need to concentrate on your story before you concentrate on your camera equipment. When I first started my channel, about my first 5,000 subscribers came from using this very basic point and shoot camera. This channel was able to grow with just something as basic as this. This camera maxed out at 720p. It was always constantly hunting for autofocus, and I could never quite get it right. And it did not have the option for an external mic. So this was a very basic camera, but it got the job done. I was able to focus on the story on my channel, and people were able to enjoy the videos and be able to subscribe and enjoy the content. You do not need an expensive camera to get started. There are a lot of different ways that you can do it. I will link up on the top here a video that LockNoob made showing his setup. It's just a very basic setup with an iPad. You can get started very cheaply and be quite successful. But what I'd like to do now is show you some of the tools that you can get to make your videos a little bit better quality. So once you have your story figured out for your channel and you have a great central theme and your subscribers know what to expect when a new video comes out by you, you're going to want to try to continually improve your channel. The next step is going to be improving your video quality. In order to improve your quality, you really want to try to concentrate on your audio, your video, and your lighting. These three concepts have a huge impact on how the final product of your video comes out, and if you can get these right, even with a really cheap camera like this one, you can still get some pretty stunning results. And I'm going to have some more info on this coming up in just a second. When you're first getting started and you'd like to start to improve the quality of your videos, one of the first steps you can take is trying to increase your audio quality. You can make a really great video, but the audio quality could be quite poor, and it can make the video very unwatchable very quickly. But if you're able to concentrate on your story and make really great content, a lot of times people can overlook this if you're not able to make a perfect audio track on your video. My first 5,000 subscribers came from me shooting on this point and shoot, and one of the biggest flaws on this camera was it did not offer an external microphone jack. The problem with that is the onboard microphone was all the way up here, and if my camera was far away from me, it would sound quite distant at times when I was speaking. And also it was always picking up all the autofocus noises in the camera, and that could be quite distracting. So if you do have a camera that can accept an external microphone, the easy answer is yes, you should consider using it. What I picked up was the Takstar SGC F98 external microphone. This is a really great cheap microphone under $30, and it can really stand up to the competition of some of the more expensive mics like the Rode microphones. This microphone is a microphone that is a boom microphone, so it's very directional and it's able to cancel out a lot of the ambient noise. So I'm going to give you a shot of this microphone, and what I'm going to do now is give you a little bit of a side-by-side comparison of how it sounds. This is a test of the sound quality of the onboard microphone on my Canon EOS 80D. This is a sound quality test of my Takstar SGC F98 external microphone. So I'll let you be the judge on which one you think sounded better, the onboard microphone versus the external microphone. One thing I do know on many cameras is the onboard microphones can become quite noisy from the autofocusing. Luckily this time when I was doing it on this test, it was not doing that. But this does show you that you can get some decent quality straight off the camera, and you do not need to get something very expensive. So whenever you're trying to improve your video, just try to keep in mind that your audio quality plays a big part in your overall quality and is something you should consider improving. The next thing I'd like to touch on is trying to improve your video. There are a lot of different topics that can really influence this, but there are a couple key points that I'd like to go over today. The first hard stop when you're filming is do not do a vertical video on your cell phone. That does not give you enough range for you to see the peripherals of the video, and it is very unpleasant to watch. So if you're ever going to be filming on your phone, try to make sure you're not filming a vertical video. But when you are filming for the first time, you need to understand the abilities of the equipment that you're using, whether it be a smartphone, a camcorder, point-and-shoot camera, DSLR. You really need to understand the tool that you're using so you can maximize it and use it to your best advantage. The next thing you want to do is try to set up a scene that is appropriate for what you are trying to film. In Locksport, a lot of people will put down a pinning mat like you see here, so this way that you know that everything is perfectly in frame. And then you want to have your camera set up in a way that your hands are not in the way of the picking process. I used to have my camera set up directly in front of me, but it got pretty awkward trying to reach around the camera and pick the lock. So I've been trying a new angle recently where the camera's about 45 degrees off to the side. This way I have free range with my hands, nothing's in front of my face, and I'm able to pick the lock open and keep it perfectly in frame. If your channel is going to be mostly on picking locks, you want to try to get an angle that's comfortable for you, but puts the lock perfectly in frame so when someone's watching it, they can see exactly what you're doing. You want to pay attention to the fact that you want to try to have your tension wrench in shot, you want to have your pick in frame, and you want to just try to make a really great video. It can get a little awkward at times when you start to try to zoom out the video, keep the lock in frame, and start the gutting process. But this is something that you'll start to learn over time, have a lot of fun with, and I really recommend you give it a shot. This community is very welcoming, loves to see new channels, and I highly recommend that you try putting out your first video. So far we've made some really good progress in trying to improve the quality of our videos. When you're trying to improve your video quality, there is the acronym AVL, Audio, Video, and Lighting. So far we have covered the audio and the video, and now we're moving on to one of the most overlooked topics, but it is a very crucial topic that can really impact your video quality significantly. The lighting is one of the most important things you can do to try to make your video quality as high quality as it can be. If you have really great lighting and a really cheap camera, you can still make some really crisp looking videos that can come out quite well. But if you have a really expensive, really great camera and terrible lighting, those videos can come out quite bad, and you would have been better off using the cheaper camera with the good lighting. So I'm going to try to show you a few strategies that I use to improve my lighting and try to make you more successful in your video making. What I'd like to do now is go over some different lighting conditions. What I'm going to do is put Groot in here, and we can use him as an example. So right now we have pretty adequate lighting, and he is very crisp, he's in frame, and he's very easy to see. But let's see what happens if we just turn the lights off, and we can see how dark he's going to get. So when you have turned off the lights, you can see that Groot is now very difficult to see, and you can't really concentrate on what he's doing. I have my camera set to a constant ISO setting, which is the amount of artificial light that my camera will produce to offset the lack of light in the environment. It is currently set at 400, and if I turn it off of manual setting and I put it on to automatic, it's going to start to jump up, which I am changing the setting now to automatic. Now you can see that Groot is now a little bit easier to see, but the picture might be getting a little bit more grainy. You can start to see a lot of little white areas, and you can see the background starting to have a little bit of movement to it. This is what happens when you have poor lighting and the camera is trying to offset this. But if I'm able to turn the light back on, the ISO will adjust back down, and Groot will be very much in frame, easy to see, and you'll have a really nice crisp picture. It is always important that you take consideration the lighting when you're working on a video, because the lighting can make a huge difference when you're trying to get a really high quality, nice shot. When you're trying to improve the lighting of your Locksport channel, the thing I want to first stress is that you do not need an expensive nor an elaborate setup. The scene you're trying to light is usually quite small, and you can accomplish this with some very inexpensive equipment. All you're trying to light up is your hands and whatever lock you're working on. The personal setup I use is I have 3 lamps, and I've installed something into them very special. Inside each lamp I do not have a typical tungsten light bulb. What I've installed is an LED light bulb, but specifically it is a 55 Kelvin LED light bulb. That can have a very distinct advantage to your video because 55 Kelvin does a really great job at emulating natural daylight. When you have a natural daylight bulb inside your lamp, that will be able to help improve the white balance in your videos. If you've noticed in some of the videos, sometimes you see people that have a very orange tint to their skin. This is often because the white balance is off and hasn't been corrected, and usually because they're using tungsten bulbs. There are several things you can do to improve this besides changing out your bulbs. Depending on your camera, some allow you to do custom white balance settings. On mine, I can use this white card here. All I do is take a picture of it and set it to custom white balance, and it will correct any of the issues. And another thing that you want to try to correct is make sure that your lighting is just accurate in general, and you want to make sure everything is adequately exposed. One thing I use when I set up my camera is I use this gray card here, and this really helps me get a proper exposure when I am looking at the meter on my camera to make sure everything is exposed. Depending on what kind of camera you're using, you may not have great manual control on what you're doing, but typically what you want to try to do is use as much light as possible so the ISO will be as low of a setting as possible without overexposing anything. When the ISO gets increased to a high level on your camera, you'll start to see all these white dots and it will get quite grainy. What ISO does is it adds some artificial light to try to offset the lack of natural light that you have in your video, and typically you want to try to keep those levels down as little as possible. But if you're able to follow these core concepts and improve your audio, your video, your lighting, being able to really focus on a story and have a central theme to your channel, you'll start to be able to grow your channel and it will start to be quite successful. I thank you guys so much for checking out this video. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, please subscribe. As always, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you all have a great day, and thank you so much for checking this out. And I hope to have some more videos coming up on this down the road. I'd really love to be a great resource in helping some other people get started in Locksport and filming their YouTube channels and just trying to be a great resource for them. Thank you so much for checking this out, and have a great day.